player poll that came out, and the players voted Tyrese as the most overrated player in the league. He's been candid about.
Yeah, I heard about this, and the other guys on the list were Jimmy Butler and Giannis. All right, and I want to see the guys' faces that voted those guys. I want to see the faces of those guys. All right, this is a bullshit poll. Not everybody even answered in the poll. All right, guys were able to answer if they wanted to. They were asked on camera or with a microphone. The whole thing's bullshit. Okay.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Now, I think the question has been, is Tyrese Haliburton a superstar? Is he overrated? I think all those questions are being answered very quickly. All right. But before we get into anything as far as Tyrese Haliburton, I want to set this up properly, okay? Because the conversation surrounding Tyrese Haliburton is kind of familiar to how the media talks about another player, and it's starting to follow a theme of we are going to pick and choose who the superstars are, and not the players themselves who are playing up to that superstar standard. Everybody's looking like, is he a superstar? But when I show you the numbers, the stats, the figures, and the things he's done that's never been done in NBA history, like 32, 15, and 10 with no turnovers, and you win a playoff game, and you're still having a conversation about whether or not he's a superstar. He's not a superstar in the same sense of off of the court and on the court. And I'm not going to put him in the same class as a Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson, Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett. He's kind of like the Tim Duncan of this era. Very, very, he's focused on the business on the court first and foremost. He has, a pretty good personality from what we've seen in interviews over the course of the playoffs. Very well spoken, but it's not going to look like how we view the other superstars like Anthony Edwards or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka Doncic or Giannis. He's not going to carry himself that way. So we're trying to classify a superstar based on the media's perception and the lens that the media has towards players versus this man is doing things that we've never seen before in NBA history from a statistical standpoint, and he just got them to the NBA Finals. Now, we're going to talk about the question that I've been talking about for the past couple of seconds. Is he a superstar? Now, I've had criteria, when we talked about Oklahoma City Thunder, they're asking, is OKC a great team? It's very simple to deduce that OKC is a great team. It's very simple to look at Tyrese Haliburton, now in his second conference finals, got the win this time, going to the NBA Finals. And I'm going to show you some of the things that he's been able to do in the playoffs thus far, and you're going to make that deduction very obvious. But why we're having this conversation, I don't know. Let's check. And before I play this, I hate to even give this credence, give this a voice, credibility, but this is the forefront of the media narrative and all of media narratives that get pushed.
Haliburton being a superstar, right? I'm like, yo, he's a damn good player. He's not overrated. The brother can ball again, but he ain't a superstar.
Yeah, Stephen A. We didn't tell the whole story.
94 feet. It could be important. What's up?
Stephen A. We didn't give the full context. We didn't tell the whole story.
A little bit out of there
It wasn't just superstar. It was a young superstar. So we weren't putting him with like the LeBrons and the Stephs and the KDs. We were just talking about the young guns.
My bad. My bad.
Right. Molly, I want to ask the twins something.
Sure.
I want to ask the twins something because I already asked you this, and I was guilty of this. I think we're throwing around the word superstar too loosely.
Yes, I do.
We're anointing guys as being superstars that are really not superstars, right? Like, yes, we know Bron and Steph, they're mega stars. It's a difference, right? And then we can start looking at everybody else. Anthony Edwards, right? Own signature shoe commercials, putting up big numbers, winning games.
And here's the thing about adding in LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, and we could probably, include Giannis and Nikola Jokic in this conversation as well, because I'm pretty sure Giannis is top 75th anniversary team. Got to do my research on that. Got to go back and look. But that's neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is 100% guaranteed Hall of Famers already stamped their claim, to being all-time greats, all-time legends. You've seen my top 25 list of all time. Giannis and Joker are on there. So is LeBron, Steph, and KD. They're all in there, right? We are going to take them and sit them off to the side. All right? Their legacies are 100% complete, so we can't even have them in this conversation. All right? We don't need to. But when we're talking about superstars of today, we're allowing people to be superstars because they can score a lot of points. But are they winning? Like people would say, you know what? John Morant is a superstar. LaMelo Ball is a superstar, but they didn't do anything in the playoffs. It's never happened. I don't even think LaMelo Ball's actually had a playoff run. Zion Williamson, he's a big name. He's never played a playoff game. People are going to label them as, when they're healthy, we would walk through the gate to watch them play. That's how some people define a superstar in the media. That's a problem. I define a superstar as a guy who can get you to the conference finals, get you to the NBA finals, and when you have him on your roster and he's playing at a high level, I think we can win a championship. Now, he's gotten them to 2 conference finals. Now they're in the NBA finals. This is the appropriate time to say, are you a superstar? And in my opinion, like I said, based on what he's been able to do, big leverage moments, big leverage games. Before Tatum went out with an injury, that season, before Tatum went out with an injury, New York Knicks were, blowing them out. No, they weren't blowing them out. The Celtics were blowing them out, and they were making all these comebacks, and everybody was looking at Jalen Brunson saying, man, that's a superstar. Why? They have not been to a conference finals on his shoulders. It has not happened. But they're so easily to anoint players like that. They're so easy to anoint players like Anthony Edwards. Why can't they be so easy to anoint a guy like Tyrese Haliburton? Like I said, he is the Tim Duncan in this situation.
I think when we start to think about guys that are superstars, we have to start really thinking about that before we just anoint them as quote-unquote being a superstar. And I'm saying that for myself as well. But I don't believe Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar.
Got him up. Go ahead, older brother. Hey, I think that, obviously you have your older players, your superstar, but it's just the era that we in. Like, who is a superstar? Who is a young superstar? Who can you anoint that? These are the players that we have in the league that we have to all-star superstar. I mean, obviously they're not on the level of LeBron and the Lucas and those guys, but they fall right under when you talk about young superstars, the young Ant-Mans, the SGA. Those are the young superstars that's up and coming league, and I think Haliburton falls in that category.
We got to define what the superstar is. That's the biggest thing.
We just so used to saying superstar is athletic, and a bigger market. Like what Haliburton is doing is similar to what Chris Paul's doing. Like we said, Chris Paul was a superstar, right? Chris Paul was the ultimate general, and that what made him the superstar. He made guys better. He's won games. That's what made him a superstar, right? Like he wasn't the most athletic. He made big shots down the clutch. It's kind of walking in that same path of a guy that can move the ball, that can make better.
Hold on. Marcus. Here's the deal, man. Do you realize that when you bring up CP3, you're talking about a top 6, top 7?
We cannot keep doing this. You are comparing a young Chris Paul to the Tyrese Haliburton we have right now. Chris Paul at this age was not a top 6 all-time point guard. He was top 2 point guard in the league, top 5 point guard in the league, top 5 in MVP voting. We are comparing Chris Paul's entire legacy to a young Tyrese Haliburton. All he's saying is, and you know what? I kind of agree with his point. The fact that Haliburton at this stage of his career compared to CP3 at the stage of his career, Tyrese Haliburton already has more conference finals appearances, and he's led his team there. That's a fair statement. I got Chris Paul top 10 PGs all time. Russell Westbrook has replaced him in the top 5. I got him top 6, right? But point still stands. Haliburton has led this team to this position multiple times. And guess what? If he was healthy, he probably would have made a difference in that series against the Celtics the last time. So it's very frustrating to see them be so hesitant to give that title to somebody who has earned it. Donovan Mitchell is labeled a superstar because he's a super athletic, can score in bunches, can score a ton of points in the regular season. Come playoffs, it's a whole different story. Come playoffs, score a lot of points, can never close the deal. They just blew a game. What was it? That was against Indiana. Indiana, he had 50-something. And they ended up losing that game, and they was up 20+. So you can't say this guy is a superstar based on X, Y, and Z, and then he only does those things in the regular season, but come playoffs, this dude is outshining him every single step of the way. This is picking and choosing who you deem a superstar because, again, like I said, he doesn't look like the others. He doesn't play like the others. His style and everything like that, we aren't really drawn to his style of play. But he meets the criteria. And if he gets it, look, he doesn't have a championship. But if he's able to get one, how long are we going to keep denying this dude? And this is what I mean by picking and choosing, okay, who you deem a superstar. Looking at this right here, all right, and I guarantee you don't really have to explain it, but I will. This is the 23-24 Boston Celtics. And look, first of all, let's talk about this, all right? I normally don't even say their name on the stream. I don't even say their name on a video, nothing, all right? I'm saying their name just to get the point of the video across. So we're going to lift the ban on saying the words Boston and Celtic in the video, all right? Jason Tatum, at the top of this, led the team, and this is the playoffs, and not just leading up to the finals. This is including the finals. He did it 2 separate occasions, which is the first round, the second round, and the conference finals. And then sometimes they differentiate, all right, has this also been done in the NBA finals? Look at these numbers: 25 points, 6.3 assists, 9.7 rebounds. As you can see, 25 points is at the top of the list. 6.3 assists is at the top of the list. 9.7 rebounds is at the top of the list. He did not win finals MVP, and he did not win conference finals MVP. Both of those things was given to Jaylen Brown. Granted, NBA finals, you guard Luka Doncic, give him hell. Cool. But you didn't lead in a single category. Outside of maybe steals, but that was like by 0.1, right? Jason Tatum led in all those other categories. That's something. You can't look at me and say a dude has done everything across the board, led in every single category. Please find me another instance where that player did not win finals MVP. You're not going to have a lot of evidence where that player did not win finals MVP, where they're leading in every single category, all of those things. Come on now. It's not going to happen a lot. It's not going to happen a lot. And then when you look at this, all right, let's look at this graphic. Let me pull this up over here. Hakeem Olajuwon, 1994. LeBron in 2012, 2013, 2016. Nikola Jokic in 2023. Tim Duncan in 2003. Larry Bird in 84 and 86. And Jason Tatum in 2024 to win a title and lead a team in total points, rebounds, and assists. He did not get MVP in the finals. Guess who did? Hakeem, LeBron, Jokic, Duncan, and Bird. Every step of the way, that's what's been happening. Why? Because there's so much given, so much narrative put into we deem this type of player to be a superstar. Jaylen Brown, well-spoken. He's got a dog mentality, that fire, that aggression, that passion that's very visible to see. And then the fact that he plays both ways on the basketball, they're leaning towards Jaylen Brown simply because they like him more. All right. And granted, this is paining me to say all this because I do not rock with the Celtics at all. Tyrese Haliburton, second in points, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in steals, first in stocks, first in threes, which is tied. The man did not win Eastern Conference Finals MVP. They gave it to Siakam because he had 30-point games in the series versus the New York Knicks in the conference finals. Siakam played great. And as far as the NBA Finals goes, I said, you know what? If he's able to be in a situation where he's matched up with Jalen Williams, all right, whoever wins that matchup is going to have a good chance at dictating how the finals is going to go. Obviously, I took OKC and I picked J-Dub to win that matchup. But even then, Siakam is an important piece, but he is not a level of importance that we see from Tyrese Haliburton doing all of the things that he's been doing all throughout the playoffs. Now, they're saying Haliburton is not a superstar. They're saying we need to slow up on, handing out that phrase superstar and the label. SGA is a superstar. All right, multiple times leading the league in scoring, regular season performances with his team, back-to-back number one seeds. Then you follow that up. You get an MVP and you run roughshod over the whole Western Conference. You're 29-1 against the East, I'm pretty sure, something crazy like that. First round down Memphis. You go against a team in against the Denver Nuggets, championship pedigree, get them out of their conference finals. You did what you were supposed to do. Now you get SGA is a superstar. And he has the off the court pedigree, the aura, as everybody's talking about, right? Haliburton doesn't have that. Haliburton just has second in points, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in steals, first in stocks, first in threes, and 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances. And for whatever reason, the on-the-court performance, even historical levels, is still not enough. It's not making sense. Get this video a like. Let me know in the comments. Is Tyrese Haliburton a superstar? That's one more for the good guys.